from December 1999 to roughly 2004 was where my music video career really was shaped and honed, and this is the space that I lived in.
Mm-hmm. What were those sets like though? Because there's all this like, and the times were so different.
So different.
It's like now we're seeing a lot of stuff that was going on in the 90s that is, through the lens of 2023, looks way different.
Yeah. It wasn't only that it was just accepted, it was expected that something could happen to you on music video sets.
How did you manage navigating that type of energy all the time?
One experience that kind of lives with me during that time, I was in the crafty room, craft services. It's where all the snacks are and stuff like that. And it was a video where there was a lot of women on set. There was a lot of movement on set. We were at the Parker Meridian Hotel. We had 2 floors. There was a lot of action going on and stuff like that. And I needed a break. I needed a break from all the energy. There was a lot of people and stuff like that. So I went to the crafty room and nobody was in there. I was like, ooh. And I got like this ponytail and I'm wearing this dress that's literally like a condom. It's like it's sucked everything in and it's really, really short. Like, don't sneeze. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like eating some licorice and whatnot. And then this guy comes in the room. I don't know who he is, but you know, looks like he's part of the entourage. You know, it was a rap video. And then another guy comes in the room. And before I know it, there's about 10 guys in the room and they're circling me. And they're starting to touch me. And I did not know how to defend myself. Or I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I think that women sometimes have a fear of offending or making a bigger deal out of something. Their instincts are firing off like crazy. Like,
and especially when you're in a work environment.
Exactly, but it's just like, danger, danger, danger. But you suppress those instincts. You suppress them because you don't want to seem impolite. You don't want to call attention to something that might not be a thing, but it's a thing.
Yeah.
And you're terrified, but you don't know how to act. You just don't know how to act in this moment. And it's almost like, if I do act and I get hysterical, will that make it worse? Will that mean that somebody covers my mouth and then it just goes all to hell?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it was one of those moments where I literally, terror on my face, didn't know what to do. And literally, cameraman or grip walks in the room and notices, which was amazing that he could even notice, but he noticed that I just was like sitting there like my chihuahua, big eyes, SOS. And he was like, hey Mel, I think they need you on set. Let me take you. And that was it. That diffused the situation and got me out of a situation that I felt like I was in peril.
Wow.
You know,
that makes me wonder how many women were in those situations and
those were treacherous times.
Yeah.
It was the wild, wild west. There was no rules, there was no boundary, there was no HR. Who are you calling?
Yeah.
Who are you complaining to?
That's it, there's no more work then, right? Because you're
exactly,
problematic, right?
Exactly. And a lot of times women, you know, they made decisions based on need, you know?
God, did you ever see that guy again?
No.
I wonder where he is.
No, it was.
He's a good guy. I wish for him some blessing today.
I do. I wish him well. I've sent him flowers in my head for, you know, over the course of many years, because that situation could have just gone completely differently.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so I was definitely fortunate. Wow. But like I said, sometimes it's treacherous waters.
Does any of that stuff triggering for you that comes up like now? How we were talking about like now in this day, all these like stories of the 90s, people that we know going through accusation. I feel like there's a whole group of our people that were like pillars in the culture that are just like
titans of the industry
knocked down one after another after another. And I don't know.
You know, we get asked a lot about believing victims, you know.
Yeah.
And well, why would they have waited? Why would they have waited to make these claims and to file these suits and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? and it's a conversation. It's a question I am extremely uncomfortable with. It is not for me to answer. It's not for you to answer. It's not
for anybody except the victim to answer.
Yeah, it's not our story. You know what I'm saying? But
I just imagine there's all types of reasons why women don't speak up right away.
listen, I will say this, that I think that anybody that comes forward, whether it was 5 minutes ago, 5 days ago, 5 weeks ago, 5 years ago, or 20 years ago, I commend you. You're brave, because every experience that I've had has not been on the up and up, you know, and they've been with, there's one that I can think of in particular. I don't have the bandwidth, the strength to deal with the onslaught of what I have seen victims go through to put myself in that position. That is why I tip my hat to them.
I've never heard anybody admit that or say that out loud.
You know,
Well,
I'm very brave these days, and I give myself a lot of credit for being brave to say things that people think to themselves but would never ever utter the words, you know? And I have said this to people, you know, that there's been experiences that I probably could have filed suit on, but I'm never going to do it because I can't deal with the repercussions of it. I can't, and I won't. I have to protect myself in some form or fashion. You know, my mental health, I've been through a lot. My mental health is fragile. You know, and especially like the last 5-6 years of my life, from the near-death car accident.
definitely want to talk about that.
Everything that transpired after that, and then my mom, you know, getting sick with cancer and passing away, and that rocked my entire universe. I mean, I had more suicidal ideations during those, you know, first couple of years of my mom passing away than I've had my entire life.
Wow.
You know,
So when you think about adding to that,
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. You know, maybe there's people that would say, but Melyssa, you doing that, you standing on that platform and saying, I'm like,
That's why people are not honest about the fact that they won't, because then they say, well, you could have saved somebody else or whatever. But it's also, you have to live with it. The person who is sharing whatever experience that they had has to live with the energy that comes back with that. It is a very brave thing. People don't talk about that enough.
Yeah.
How brave you have to be to put your stuff on the front line. So you're right about that for sure.
Yeah.
But I've also never heard somebody, well, at least I've never had, I'm sure people have admitted to it, but I've never heard somebody from the other side talk about why I wouldn't.
yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
I'm too fragile. I know myself.
Wow.
And I have gone through an enormous amount of therapy and come out the other end with a really intense sense of self-awareness. And I know what my bandwidth is, and I know what I am not capable of handling that will probably like upend my life to a point where I won't recover from it. And I don't want that for myself.
Do you think ever in your life you might change your opinion on that?
You know, we're watching, you know, chickens coming home to roost. And when somebody does the things that they do, you know, what's happened to me, it's not an isolated incident. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure that there will be a before and an after kind of thing. And I don't believe that anything that I do or I say can prevent another act from happening. I don't believe that. I don't. And also, again, I stress, after everything that I have gone through, I have to protect
Your peace.
my peace.
Yeah.
You know, so I have had to make peace with this decision. It has not come lightly. I have struggled. I have cried. I've screamed. I've talked to my therapist. I've talked to close friends that I know would never betray my confidence.
Wow.
And I know that I just,
You won't.
not this lifetime. Not
Wow.
this lifetime. Maybe next lifetime I come back as Joan of Arc, you know?
You just never know. But anyway, I asked you that because to the point of like how brave those women are, and when people ask the question like, why did it take them so long? This is why.
Yeah,
this is why, because you have to, because it's scary.
And a lot of times, you know, we you know, our vocabulary has expanded. You know, I'm surprised consent was not the word of the year.
Yeah,
you know
we didn't even, nobody was talking about that.
We have a different understanding about it now. We have a more expansive way of understanding what it actually means. And I think that a lot of people are very uncomfortable with the expanded understanding of what that concept actually means, because then they have to go back in their past and they have to understand that their behavior is now being called into question. And now somebody might have been living with a different perception as to
what consent
what transpired between the two of you. And that's literally what we're seeing right now.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So it's it's some muddy waters, you know.
It is muddy waters.
Woo.